today on Chicks in Construction, we're talking about a North Raleigh renovation that turned into a nightmare.
Look, you wouldn't get into an Uber with someone if you found out the driver didn't have a license.
And that's just a ride home, not your actual home.
We'll talk about how you can check to make sure that your general contractor is licensed, why you should never skip your permits or inspections, and the problem with prepaying $25,000 when your contractor gives you a sob story about he's a bit short on paying his crew.
Listen, learning the hard way is overrated, so let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Chicks in Construction. I'm your host, Mickey Paradise, and this is my co-host,
Jessica Abreu.
And you might notice, friends and family, folks, friends, subscribers, all of you, please subscribe. We be looking fancy up in here.
You might
notice, for those of you who have written me saucy emails about how bad my lighting, sound, and camera angles are, that my lighting, sound, and camera angles are much better.
So
and that's
much better.
Because we're in a podcast studio. So yeah, your criticisms were received, not politely, okay? And here we are now in a podcast studio. And I hope you're enjoying how professional we look because, oh my God, today, look at us.
Look at us. We're
Look at
amazing.
We're
Thank you so much for commenting that we needed to
Thank
update.
you for lighting the fire under my behind because I was offended. And it really wasn't even like they meant, the guy who said it meant to offend. He really was like coming from it as like a videographer perspective. Mm-hmm. And I just think like had a little loosey-goosey of the mouthy. And he was like, oh yeah, I could barely edit this. The camera angles are terrible. You only have one camera. The lighting is horrible. The sound. And I was like,
thanks.
Cool. So I was doing that in my basement. Also, I'm a drywall contractor. So maybe calm down a little bit, my guy. Take it down a notch.
Everybody's going to be upset about something.
Everybody does. And that's fun because I was a guest on a podcast here and I was like, oh, we're moving. I was like, it's done. The deal is done. I was like, Joe, get ready because I'm going to be all up in your podcast studio. We're doing it. And here we are. And look at this. It's
great.
This. It's nut sauce.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. So,
and you did a great job getting the background here.
I did. I'm going to say I loaded everything into my vehicle because Hector took the truck to work that day. Of all the days, it was that day that he took the truck.
Of course.
So I loaded them into the Rivian. I have a Rivian SUV. If you're wondering, I'm real big into electric vehicles, mostly because I hate gas stations. I don't know if you've ever had a weird experience at a gas station, but if you have, you know. Just go electric. You can plug it into your house. Anywho, so I loaded all the panels and everything into the car, and Hector pulls up right as I've got everything loaded in, and I was like, I looked like I had just done a cardio blast at F45. I was covered. That Orange Theory place where like if you don't sweat you get yelled at.
Yeah.
That. It was intense. So he shows up right at the very end, loads the chairs in.
You're like, thanks for the help, honey.
Like, you're getting them out of my car. And of course he gets them out and it doesn't even break a sweat. And I was like, rude. So we brought our stuff and we're here now. And it's amazing. We're very excited. Joe says that people probably might not notice. And if you don't notice this setup, I will fight you. Yeah. Call me, comment down below, and we're going to go full fisticuffs. You better notice this. And I don't care if this is your first episode, go watch the other ones and
so
notice
you can see how much better this is. Because you gotta check it out.
I will fight you. So yeah, guys, we're profesh. I've got a mug of water, just so you know, in case you thought it was something else. It's not. We're hydrating. Hold on, let me take a sip.
Got to stay hydrated.
Got to stay hydrated. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. So yeah, that's what I was doing. Jess has been gone for a minute. She has kids, and summertime and kids equals you see your friends a lot less. Yeah. Unless you have kids, and then you can join in the festivities. But because I just got them dogs, it was like, all right, Jess, I'll see you after summer.
Yep. I've been doing like camp counselor. Like, I call it Camp Abrew. Everybody asks me, like, what do you do with your kids in the summer? I'm like, Camp Abrew.
Camp Abrew.
We're swimming. We're doing schoolwork.
You guys do all the stuff.
We do all the things. Well, I have to keep them busy because I'm not a homebody, so I can't stay in the
you're
house.
like never at home.
I'm like, no. So
You're not here
we've
for
been
that.
here, there, and everywhere. But I am excited to get into another horror story that you are actually a part of this time, right?
This is the juice. This is the tea. This is the biscuits. Okay, it's all the things. So I got called in, and this has happened to me multiple times. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I think it's because I give off a massive amount of just completely unearned confidence. Is really, people are like, Mickey absolutely has to know what she's talking about in all things. And I'm like, of course I do. Expert of everything.
Everything.
So even though on this show I have said several times that I am a licensed GC, but I do not use my GC, I still get people that call me and they want me to consult on like the problems that they're having with their GC. And I'm like, well, I do know about bad GCs.
We can spot all the problems.
We're like, listen, this is what the whole podcast is about, my guy. So I get this call from a woman, she's local, and she, honestly, it's like, it's like why I started this podcast, because it's like the quintessential, are you kidding me story when it comes to GCs. So she has this house in like an older neighborhood in like kind of outside downtown Raleigh. And she's been there for like 20 years. It's original to like, I don't know when it was built, a hot minute ago. And so she herself is very hands-on and has done a lot of like little renovations here and there. But she's like, you know what? Like, I love to cook and I love to host people, and like the layout of my kitchen doesn't make any sense. And so I really decided I was going to just like do a brand new kitchen.
Okay.
So she reaches out to a friend who's a GC, but they're a commercial GC, and they were like, hey, I can't help you, but I used to work with this guy who was a GC. Let me connect you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the guy who was a GC actually was just telling people he was a GC. He wasn't actually a licensed general contractor.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And that
I love when people use, like, I'm a GC. And then you ask them a few more questions about, like, what they actually do and can do. And they're like, oh, do you mean licensed GC? It's like, of course that's what I mean. I want to know if you have a license to do the work that you're going to do.
Right.
We're not just using...
This isn't Texas. As Beyonce says, this ain't Texas. Or does she say this is Texas? I don't know. But this isn't Texas. We have a licensing board. If you're a general contractor, you need to be licensed. And here's the thing I learned. So if you're a licensed general contractor, you have to do continuing education. And so I just finished my last continuing education class last week. And they were like, put it in bold text on the screen. They're like, there's two things you need to know. If your project is over $40,000, you have to have a GC. Like the whole rule where like you as the homeowner, GC. A licensed GC, because anything over $40,000 triggers needing the license. So like not just a GC, if you have a project and it's over $40,000, they have to have a license. If you have a project that's over $40,000 and there is a structural element to it, and that is a very vague term that they did intentionally. So I think it like as if you are moving a light fixture, that triggers needing a permit. So they are making it very clear. One, if you're doing anything other than $40K, you need a licensed general contractor. And two, if you are moving anything, if you're doing anything structurally, you need a permit. So I'm like, clarification. Hot off the press, people. you need a licensed GC. Now
with the project, is that all the materials, the labor? Because I know
it's
some general
everything.
contractors try to say.
The only thing, and I asked this question because so many people be like, oh, it doesn't include the materials. Yes, it does. The only thing, it got you. The only thing it doesn't include is the cost of the land, but it does include the cost to get the land buildable. So if you buy the land, okay, that doesn't count into your total. But if you have to spend $50,000 to clear the lot and get the dirt ready and all that jazz, that goes into the cost. The only thing that doesn't factor in is cost of land or cost of doing work that is like public right of way. So like if you needed to work add a turn lane to a street, that would not fall under your.
Yeah. And I don't think many
would cost $9 million.
Yeah, I don't think many homeowners
it might throw off the project, the budget just a bit.
Adding a turn lane.
They had to do that on one of our apartment complexes. And when I found out the cost to put in a turn lane, I almost had a heart attack. I was like, you know what? I'm about to meet the Lord. You better get off those paddles because I need to be defib me.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so this guy, he's not a real licensed general contractor.
The friend recommends this guy because this guy has always said that he was a licensed general contractor. And this is where, like, to the homeowners, when somebody recommends somebody, don't just leave it at that recommendation before you hire them.
And now
check.
I'm always checking.
Yeah.
It's real quick. A Google search, the state that you're in for the licensing board, and then type in their name.
Yeah.
And if nothing pops up, run.
Yeah. Like don't walk, run. So that's the thing too, is like every state has a license. Well, every state except for Texas, because in Texas you don't have to have a license. Every state that requires a license will have a licensing board, and you can go onto their licensing board and search for a general contractor. You can search by their name, you can search by the company's name, you can search by address. Like they give you every opportunity to really check and make sure this person is actually licensed. But unfortunately, this woman took just kind of took it. And I don't necessarily blame her. This is why we do the show, right? So that you watch, you learn, you're like, okay, note to self, if a friend recommends a GC, actually check that they're licensed, because so many people represent themselves as general contractors when they do not have a license, that it is honestly alarming. I think that's one thing that has blown you away throughout the Chicks in Construction process is
it's crazy to me how many people just say that they're a general contractor. And I've actually had people contact me to want to be on the show.
Yeah.
And then you just get into it a little bit and they're like, oh no,
I'm not licensed. Do you watch our show?
Like, I'm sorry. Do you, boo?
Right, we ain't having
but I cannot
shenanigan on the show.
We're not promoting that.
No.
And yeah, I have definitely learned so much from doing this show. And I know that if I'm a homeowner who had no idea, that there are so many more of us out there who just have no idea that
you just don't know
that you can quickly find if they have a license or if they're, quality, not just going by, a Facebook group or a review that you see on the internet, because
I even think there's a way to check. Don't quote me on this because it was a while ago that I heard about it, but I think there's actually a way within, like at least for our county, that you can pull, like go down to where the permits are pulled and find out how many active permits a general contractor has pulled, which kind of signifies one, they're pulling permits. So yay, that's great. Step one, they pull permits. But two, okay, they're on multiple projects. Like, so, you can kind of infer what you want from that. But if you were to go and see that a general contractor hadn't pulled a single permit, that's a problem, because they're going to try to talk you out of pulling permits. So,
or they're brandy new and they have no idea what they're doing.
Or this is day one and they just have a banging website.
Yeah.
So
then what happened?
So she had a kind of a galley style kitchen.
Okay.
It had a wall that between the living room and the kitchen, and the wall needed to come out, but it was structural. So she very smartly went ahead and hired a structural engineer to design like what needed to be done in order to be able to remove that wall. And it involved some framing up in the attic and then adding an extra footer, adding like a beam. And so that was all done, but the GC didn't have it inspected because they didn't actually do it right. So they like followed the drawings, but not really, and then covered everything up so that
no one would know.
I think about this story, and like I know our permitting department, and I know most of the inspectors in our county. And this one, there's a female inspector that obviously because she's a female, I know of her, because women, and if you're a woman in construction, it's like we all know each other naturally because there's 5 of us. So people will be like, oh, do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's my boo. But so she was the inspector assigned to this house, and she comes in, and listen, she don't miss a beat. So she comes in to do the inspection, which, by the way, the homeowner called in.
The homeowner called in the inspection,
Yes.
not the general contractor.
So the homeowner insisted on inspections, thanks to her friend that,
gave her the
very
referral.
sadly gave her the referral to the really crappy GC that was not a GC. But the one thing they were like, inspections, protect you, like you have to get inspections. So she understood she needed inspections. So the GC tried to talk her out of it, but she wasn't having it. And so she calls it in for inspection. The general contractor gets notice because he's on the inspection card. And so he gets an email notice that the inspection's been scheduled, and he calls the homeowner freaking out.
Now that's going to be a huge red flag.
The hugest of red flags.
If your general contractor is freaking out about being inspected, they must have done something wrong.
Something has gone awry. So the homeowner is like, and he is very aggressive. Like the way she describes this was like she was a little bit afraid for her safety. He was losing his mind, like talking about, oh, you want to be the general contractor now? You want to act as the general contractor? It's my job to call in the inspections. And she's like, but you haven't called in an inspection, and the kitchen's almost done, and none of this has been inspected. And she was shocked by his response because like they did the right thing. As far as she knew, they got the structural engineer, which she paid for all of that. Like they had the drawings. Like all you have to do is build the thing to the drawings, have it inspected, and we're good. So when he sees that the inspection has been called in, he loses it. He tries to manipulate her, tries to quit, all the stuff. And mind you, a back hop. About 2 weeks before this inspection gets called in, he comes to her and he tells her that he's on this other job and they're not paying. And,
oh my God,
he can't pay his guys. Is there any way that she can, because they were
Pay him
getting
up
close
front.
to the end. Is there any way that you could just, pay the rest that's owed? And it was like $25,000.
So now, listen, I have a bleeding heart for people too.
Yeah.
I understand that not everybody has the money, and with doing construction, a lot of it can be, waiting and stuff. But at $25,000, like if you can't pay your guys, that's like $1,000.
Right.
Do you have 25 guys?
Right. Like, where are they? Why aren't they on the job?
Right. Why aren't they doing all this work? So is that when contractors come to you and say that they can't pay their guys
Red
and
flag.
try to get more money from you, is that like a major, like you shouldn't give them
No.
more. You should stick to the
And
pay
I also
schedule.
think, and this is just speculation, but I also think he wouldn't have done it to a man, because I think a man would have been like, "Sounds like a you problem, my guy." You know, like I don't think he would have done it to a man.
But
I think he thought, oh, a woman
get
is
that
gonna
Love
feel
Island.
bad for my guys, and and unfortunately,
she did.
she did.
Yeah.
So reinforced that, that stereotype, very manipulative. And then it was like, oh, thank you. And then nobody shows up for 2 weeks. So that's why she scheduled the inspection, because she was like, I don't know what's going on. Can't get a hold of this guy.
I want my kitchen.
I know the work has been done. Let's at least call the inspection in, see what the inspector says. Then she gets the call from him, and he is like so irate that she was scared. Like, she literally called a friend and was like, can you come spend the night at my house? Because I'm afraid that this guy is going to come to my house. Like, she was terrified.
So what did the inspector find? Because now I'm dying to know.
Have the mercy. First of all, he didn't even build any of the structural things, the structural components.
That were on the paper?
To the specifications of the paper. So there was supposed to be a footing that goes in, it like, it's a load transfer thing, but it goes in your basement. And basically, if you're moving a load from one point to another, that load was sitting on a footer, which is in your basement. Well, now we need to move that load, and where we're moving the load doesn't have a footer, so we have to put a footer in.
Beam type
Yeah,
thing.
it's like basically you dig 12 inches down. It's like 12 by 12.
Okay.
And it depends on what the structural engineer says. So it could be a 24 by 24, whatever. Just depends on what the plans say.
Mm-hmm.
You dig that out. Here's the process of inspection in Raleigh, North Carolina. You dig out the footing.
Okay.
You have the dug out footing inspected so that they can see that it's deep enough, that it's the right size according to the drawings. So the empty footing gets inspected. Now, does that sound like pain in the rump pump pump? Sure. But you want to make sure your footing is the right depth and the right, they check to make sure that it's the right kind of concrete. Like, there's a lot that goes into this. It's a structural part of your house. It's really important.
Yeah, you don't want your house to fall down because your footing is not properly done.
You have that the hole inspected.
Okay.
Then they come in, they fill, and when it's just a single footing, they just mix the concrete by hand. They fill it in, and then once that's dry, they can build the rest of how the structural engineer spec'd the support column to be. So sometimes they'll say, masonry block. Sometimes they'll say that it needs to be a specific kind of wood. Homeboy don't do none of that. He's like, I know how to dig a footing. I know how to put concrete in a hole. I got this. I don't need no inspector. So he digs the footing. I guess we could say at least he did this.
Oh my God.
But then decides, why waste money on like masonry blocks when there's a bunch of old bricks laying around in the crawl space?
No. Because a masonry brick is so expensive.
Right. A masonry block. Like, they're 52 cents at Lowe's. Now, I don't know. With inflation and tariffs, they could be $1.52 right now. But like, it was one footing that at best would have needed like 4 or 5 masonry blocks. But this guy's like, nah, look at us, reduce, reuse, recycle, my guy. He just went around her freaking
house and found bricks?
And found old ass bricks. Like,
that
not
probably
even,
could just like
crumbling. They were left over from the
God.
construction of her home.
No.
And he stacks the bricks, doesn't use a mortar, nothing. Just stacks the bricks and is like, boom, footing. Woo, did it. So that was that. So
I would love to see the inspector's face.
Oh God,
when this happened.
So I know this inspector, and I can imagine, like, the look on her face was professional because she keeps it cool.
Okay,
especially with like the homeowners. Like, when she's on a multifamily job, she will rain fire because they're supposed to know what they're doing. When she's dealing with a homeowner, like, she understands that like this poor homeowner has no idea the world of hurt that she's just about to expose. So she's very game faced, but she goes, okay, so none of the structural things that you had, a structural engineer have been done correctly. The inspection process wasn't done correctly. And now some inspectors in this case would leave because it's like, you've already failed the inspection. Why waste time going through everything to find more things? But in this case,
excuse me, can you point out every single thing that's done wrong?
Oh, she did.
I mean, it must be everything.
It was literally everything. He didn't pull a permit for the deck. So it was a 20 by 20 foot deck. He did not pull a permit. Now, she had an existing deck that was about 6 foot by 4 feet. It was a baby deck. It was like a Romeo and Juliet type of a deck.
Right. And she's making it bigger.
And she made it bigger by triple.
Yeah.
I'm not, math isn't my strong point, but let's just say triple. She tripled the size of her deck. It required footings, our favorite thing.
And they're probably all done wrong too.
Didn't get dug or inspected. And also the way when they extended the deck, it covered her crawl space access door. And so that access door needs to have certain levels of clearance, which of course the deck infringed upon the clearance. So in order to get into the crawl space, I may have said attic access door, but I meant crawl space access door.
No, you said crawl space.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm using all the brain cells that I have today, and it's not many. Okay, it's Tuesday. Calm down. So that crawl space access door is supposed to have a certain level of clearance, and because they would have to raise the deck, which then would have raised it past the door threshold, they just said, you know what? We're just going to go right across the crawl space access. And you would think the plan was, we'll just move the crawl space access door. No, they didn't do that. They just left it. So you literally have to
crawl on your hands and knees.
Imagine how a seal slides.
I was hoping that you were going to visually try this out because that is gold right there. And so if you're only listening to this podcast, I highly recommend you go to YouTube.
Check us out on YouTube.
And check out that. And she keeps doing it. It's amazing.
It's like, you know what? You know who does it? It's a penguin. When a penguin's going down,
yes, please visually show us that again. We're dying.
It's a penguin.
And now I'll never be able to see a penguin again and not think of Mickey.
Without thinking of me doing penguin. So essentially, that's the only way to get into this lady's crawl space is to penguin. That is a massive. Do you need a sip?
I think I need.
We gotta take a sip after that. She wasn't expecting me to bring out the penguin, but here we are in the new studio. We're pulling out all the stops.
Oh, so Lord. Okay, so we have no access to the crawl space.
So there's no access to the crawl space.
No footings
the deck didn't get inspected at all. No permit was pulled. There was no footings. It wasn't actually attached to the house. So it was just a free floating deck. The wind could have moved it and it would no longer be attached to the deck. It was just hanging out for a good time.
He didn't put it to the house.
He didn't attach it to the house.
I mean, that seems like a small detail.
Just minor, a minute, if you will, detail. So it wasn't attached to the house.
My gosh, I can't even imagine what he did to her poor kitchen then.
Oh God. So she wanted to have this. She didn't move. Well, I don't know. She might have moved the sink. I'm not sure.
She probably had to if it was a galley kitchen.
She definitely added a bigger, the dream sink. For me, it's the dream sink because it's you can fit many dogs in the sink and wash them all at the same time. I mean, not Optimus Prime. He has his own shower downstairs, a human-sized shower for my 250-pound English Mastiff. But all the other ones, I have this dream of having one of those farm sinks where you can just put all your dogs in there and just wash them all at the same time and do the chaos at once instead of one at a time. You just rinse them. Anyway, I digress. She did get that
beautiful
dream
farm sink.
And then the what was supposed to go in was one of those huge picture windows, I think, where she could put plants and stuff. Ooh. I mean, who doesn't want that? That window never happened. So he claimed that he ordered that window. It was like a $1,200 window. And that it never came in, and he just installed what came in. Instead of like going to her and being like, hey, a little bit of a problem, he just installed the window that came in, which was probably a $300 window from Lowe's.
And like, where did that extra $700
exactly
go?
That she had
Or
already
more.
paid him because she had paid him in full because he played the song and dance, and unfortunately she fell for it. So because the window opening got bigger, that was supposed to be inspected, didn't get inspected. The sink, I think there was plumbing that was supposed to be inspected, didn't get inspected.
Of course not.
Electrical that had been done didn't get inspected. So basically, the inspector goes through and writes up all the stuff. The structural stuff didn't get done. All of this stuff, there was no permit pulled. None of it was inspected. Everything that was covered up had to be, the drywall had to come down so that they could see the structural framing members and make sure that everything was framed correctly. So not necessarily like making the kitchen non-functional, but like in certain places taking it back to like demo phase.
Oh my God.
I will say, to this homeowner's credit, like when she called me in, this woman had more photos than any, like this, she had like crime scene photos. Like she had photos of every single thing that they did in that kitchen. And she was telling me, she was like, because I asked her, I was like, were you worried about like what they were doing? And she was like, no, I was just so excited. She was like, it was in the group chat. Like I was sharing all these pictures with my family and my friends because
She was so excited.
The new hardwood floor was going in today. And we're, this, that, and the other. And the kitchen turned out beautiful. I will give her some credit that she went out and found the cabinet company that she liked the best and ordered the cabinets through them. So he just installed them.
Did he do that correctly? Were they actually attached to a wall? Were they free floating?
They were attached to the maybe he
cabinets.
didn't even install them. Maybe she paid for the cabinet company to install because they were perfection. And she went like mid-century modern. Ooh. So she went with this like beautiful wood. And it was just like earth toned wood with the white countertops that kind of they do this thing where it's called waterfalling, where it goes all the way down the cabinet. It's a chef's kiss, let me tell you. And then instead of doing a backsplash, she just did the same countertops all the way up the wall. I mean, she's ready to party in this kitchen. Like she could get pasta sauce everywhere and it would be fine. There's no grout anywhere.
That's awesome.
Luckily, like none of that stuff had to come down. But like all of these things that she paid him, I think it was about $50,000.
So then what happens? Because obviously like you don't want him to continue doing the work because he's doing it all wrong.
Girl, it gets so spicy.
You've paid him all this money.
Yes.
So then what happens?
So of course she didn't want him to come back, especially after the yelling, because she was very freaked out. But she'd also paid him all the money. And none of it had been done right. And a lot of stuff was going to have to be undone. She's going to have to bring in other people, especially for that structural stuff, because it couldn't wait. Like it needed to be done that way for a reason. Because now we've got...
Our house is going to fall down.
Right, pretty much. And that was her big fear, was that the house would just... The kitchen
crumble.
essentially ceiling was going to fall in. So it gets so spicy. So you can't do this and just... In Wake County, this is not a thing. But you can try and get people fired if you want, but it's not a thing, and I don't recommend. So homeboy must have known somebody in the inspections department because he gets his name removed from her permit ticket. Once the permit, like once the failure gets reported, it all goes online. And it is epic. It is like, this is going to be, I was reading it going, I wouldn't be surprised if the next time we do our continuing education because they'll use like real life case
Right.
studies. I'm like, this is going to be an example of a real life case study of like,
So the person who removed it can probably be fired, right?
well, they did get fired.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
See, you're going to get caught.
Don't
do
know
dirty work, you're going
Play
to get caught.
stupid games, win stupid prizes. So with the level of failure on this, and the inspector spared no expense. The inspector tore this GC a new one. Like she was very specific to note like all of his failures. There was issues with the exterior siding because when they did the window, that needed a permit that he didn't do. He hadn't finished the siding. Like there was all this, and she went in on this guy. So he turns around the next day. She and the homeowner gets an email that he has been removed as the general contractor on her permit. So she calls the inspector because the inspector gave her number.
Right.
And she was like, hey, how is this possible? He's been removed. And she goes, it's not possible. So she goes back to the office, finds out who took him off the permit. They lost their job. And then the inspector herself puts his ass back on that permit and is like, no, sir, you're not coming off this ticket until you fix the problems. So needless to say, he has ghosted her, like not responded to anything. Right. She has spent another about $20,000
to fix all his issues.
To bring, especially on the structural stuff, like bringing people in, like fixing the plumbing, like doing all of this stuff. Like she kind of like, I when she brought me in, I was like, you know, you should do some research. Like, cause basically she brought me in to help her build her case cause she's going to sue him. So she was like, help me kind of like put together a report, which I've done for other people, like put together a report of like all the things, the order in which things should have happened, like around about what they should have cost. And like, you know, so I can bring that to court. So I come in and I'm like, you know, given just the level of shenanigan that we're dealing with here, you should research. Because you can research whether people have judgments against them. And you should research if he has any judgments against him. Turns out the IRS.
Ooh.
It's like.
That was his guy that needed the $25,000.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, I think that's who needed. Yeah. So there was like, I'm like, man, if you messing with the IRS, you ain't right. You ain't like, you don't have enough fear in your heart.
No.
That's just the thing. You need to fear the IRS. Because they'll come for you. Death and taxes, the only things that I don't fuck with.
Is her kitchen complete now? Is she?
So her kitchen is like air quotes complete. Like
okay.
The structural stuff is done. They uncovered all the things they needed to uncover. They got that replaced. Like, so it's done. It's functional. She loves the kitchen. So that's the one benefit. Whereas like she doesn't have that like spicy PTSD where it's like, well, the kitchen's done, but now I don't want to go in there. Like a lot of our homeowners have shared. Like every time I walk in here, I think of this horrible experience. She just loves the kitchen. She's so happy with it. But she's going to have to take this guy to court. And given the amount of judgments that he has against him,
she's like never going to see a dime.
She's never going to see that money. So she's trying to keep it like in some small claims so she doesn't have to involve a bunch of lawyers. But, my God, today, like I could not believe.
It's awful.
The levels of.
So how many, like, what was the time frame? So like she had this started a couple months ago. It has been well over a year. Oh my God.
The kitchen got done like, I would say in like a month or two.
Okay.
So it got done relatively quickly, but it's been at least a year from when she called the inspector and had that inspection to where we are now. And it's funny because like when she had the structural stuff done, she called that in for inspection, and like she's kind of going through her acting as her own GC, essentially going through and like ticking off the things that the inspector found and failed them for. So like one by one, she's getting things inspected, but like the permit's not closed. Because it's just like there's just so much stuff that needs to be done. And so, and you know, she spent $50,000 on the kitchen originally.
Right.
And then is like amassed another 20. And so it's kind of like as money becomes available, we're going through and we're fixing what we can. But I like when I think it, like things that were not present in this story were he didn't ask for a crazy deposit. So that's one thing where I was like, oh, I think this is like the first time we've had a homeowner horror story that didn't start with a ridiculous deposit.
I know. And it's disheartening that it came from a referral.
Right?
That things seemed to be going good. The homeowner did what she needed to do as far as getting the plans and expecting this person to follow the plans because they were a referral.
Most homeowners wouldn't even go that far. Most homeowners would expect the general contractor to get the structural stuff. But he, like, I don't think he had that in his repertoire. So she knew enough to be dangerous in that sense to get the structural things done and have that information. So I'm like, dude, all you had to do was follow the plans. This isn't guesswork. It's right there. Like structural engineers get down and dirty. Like they'll tell you what kind of screw to use. Like they tell you what kind of wood, like literally the type of pine you're supposed to use on things. Like there's no
guessing.
The plans were a little vague. There's none of that when it comes to structural engineers. They live and die by being so precise that it's ridiculous. So,
but thank goodness too that she had that friend that referred. I mean, it stinks that they referred the bad contractor, but I'm assuming having that person as a friend, that's how she knew to do the inspections and stuff. Because I could just imagine what a horror story we would be having if
they had none.
Because that,
Lord have the mercy.
That, I mean, somebody could have gotten hurt walking onto the deck that's not attached to a house.
Yeah.
Well, like, the whole house would have fallen down.
What in the world? Yeah. So that's the what, like when I was asking her, I was like, so if you talked to your friend and they told you make sure to get permits, like where did the disconnect happen on the permit of the deck? And she was like, oh, well, he said I don't need a permit for a deck because I had an existing deck. And I was like, I could see where if you didn't know, if you weren't in the industry, you'd think, oh, well, we're just adding a bigger deck. No big deal. But it's like, yeah, guys, it's a big deal. It's a big, I'm going to break the fourth wall. It's a big deal, guys. Get the permit. Get the inspection. They are there. Like, and we've told stories, saucy stories, of times where I've wanted to put hands on inspectors. Like, you know, I don't hold back. But they really are there to protect you as the homeowner, to make sure that the general contractor and the tradespeople are doing their work correctly. Even if sometimes I want to go fisticuffs with an inspector, like I really value what they are doing because they are genuinely protecting homeowners and all the people that are going to occupy, these buildings. So just a wild story. And this, what's crazy is it's ongoing. So there's no end in sight.
So we'll have
really.
to give an update.
We'll have to give an update. We'll see. A lot of times, so I've done this twice now, consulted like this and kind of created this report for people to go to court with. A lot of times they don't. Which is very dissatisfying to me because I'm like, why did you pay me this money? And I did a 26-page report with photos and arrows that I had to insert to point to things, to show the thing.
And we know how good she is.
Right. You all know how good I am with technical stuff. 90.99% of things, I'm like, dear Jess, I'm like on my phone, Jess, can you add a such and such to this? And she's like, done. Literally, in the time it took me to text Jess, she did the thing.
Yep.
So I don't do arrows, but I did arrows. And then the first one they didn't pursue. And so this one might not either, because I think a lot of people are just like,
is it worth it?
I'm like, justice is worth it.
Yes.
But also, he's got judgments against him from the IRS, and I'm pretty sure the IRS is getting paid before anybody else. So I think, I think in her mind, she's like, the point might be moot. But so I think things that we can like take away from this is it is so important to check that somebody that claims to be a general contractor is licensed. Because there's a lot of them out on these streets that they say they're general contractors, and
they're general.
They're general, you know? I mean, like, listen, let me just break it down for you. I watch a lot of YouTube. A lot. Like, I don't watch regular TV. I watch YouTube. So could I throw a stitch in an open wound because I've watched 10,000 solid hours of Dr. Pimple Popper? Yeah. I could stitch you right up and it would probably look all right. Right? Maybe. I don't know. I could put the stitch in though. Does that mean I should? No. I haven't gone to school for that. I didn't take any tests for that. Like, general contractors take continuing education classes. We have to pass a 5.5-hour test that will make your eye sockets bleed. There's a reason why this matters, because it shows that, like, you care about the rules. It shows that it's important to you to do things right, that you have the ability to study, that you have some basic knowledge of how construction works to pass the test. Like, I'm just saying.
It's important.
Having a license is important. There's a lot of people out there that can swing hammers and they're amazing craftsmen and they're really great tradespeople, but that doesn't make them a general contractor. There's a lot that goes into it. And so checking to make sure that anybody that you're hiring that's claiming to be a general contractor is actually licensed is really important. So I think that from this story is one of the key takeaways. I love that she didn't, I want to say pickled. That's not the word. She didn't get stonewalled, if you will, or locked into some like deposit situation, but she also just gave her money away because he sang her a sad song. We don't do sad songs when it comes to money. It's like, that's a sad song. So sorry. I'm so sorry. But no.
You can break out all the violins, but my wallet is going to stay closed.
The miniature violin.
You get paid according to the schedule, and we stick to that contract.
Stick to that schedule. Yes. Guys, like, contracts. In the last episode, I think we said 5,000 times that you need to be in control of the money. That is how you protect yourself as the homeowner. And so moving forward, be a little fire drake about the money. Hoard the money. Or like one of those those dragons. And what was there was a movie with a dragon that hoarded gold. Be that dragon.
Don't be a penguin.
Yeah, don't be a penguin. Be a dragon.
And on that note, I think we'll
wrap it up on a little penguin experience. But so thank you guys for watching. Thank you. Well, this homeowner didn't submit the story. Thanks for calling and having me write this report that I genuinely hope that you use when you go to court, just for funsies. But please remember how important the homeowner horror stories are, because it really helps uncover these new little things. Like you think every homeowner horror story is going to be the same, but in this case, she didn't get wrangled by a deposit. She got in trouble because she felt bad for the guy and paid him in full when he wasn't done. Also, the inspections.
Inspections are key.
And they pulled the permit, so it was like they did the one step, but making sure that somebody's actually like a permit. And maybe have we ever discussed, like, a permit is so that an inspector can come and inspect. So don't let a general contractor just pull a permit and not actually use the permit to have it inspected. At the end of the day, multiple inspections have to happen throughout a kitchen renovation, especially when there's structural elements like adding footings. That's a multiple permit or not a single permit, but a multiple inspection situation. So they have to get an inspection for the footings. They have to get an inspection for the electrical work, the plumbing, there's all kinds of things. So I thought it kind of went without saying, but let me just say it in case it doesn't go without saying. Don't let your GC just pull a permit. Also, they have to inspect the things that they're doing. I thought I thought that went without saying, but now that I think about it, I thought maybe that isn't as common knowledge. The
No, so we
permit
need
is for the
permits
purpose
and
of
then
the inspection. So we need to start driving that point home. So
Low
your
deposits.
horror stories, yes, we're like, we've got a list.
We're gonna put a
horror
list together
stories
for
help
you.
us realize, like, okay, here's another area that homeowners don't know about, and so it helps us educate the homeowners. It helps us bring more knowledge so that when you do have, your renovation of your dreams, it is of your dreams and not of your nightmare. So all of you out there who have your homeowner horror stories, please go to chicksandconstruction.com. Just scroll down. You can share it. You don't even have to email us. You can just put it in the little form there. It makes it so easy. You can check anonymous. Even if you don't, Jess is never going to say your name on television.
I'm never going to say your name.
So don't
It's
you
not
even worry
happening.
about it. You safe up in here. Safety first. Also, please make sure you like and subscribe. I am shocked that we don't have 9 million subscribers at this point. I clearly thought that my shining personality would result in much more subscriptions. It's not. It is free. I always hear YouTubers say this, like, hey, it's free to subscribe. And I'm like, I know that. But maybe other people don't. So I'm just going to repeat the stupid thing that I hear people say all the time, which is it's free, in case you didn't know. And it helps support the channel. So it helps support us continuing being in this fancy ass studio, which is not, it costs money, guys. It costs money. It's not free.
Beautiful.
It's not a donation. Okay. So like and subscribe. We also have socials. Where are our socials?
We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram at Chicks and Construction Podcast.
Chicks and Construction Podcast. Come on, y'all. Let's do this. Let's be liking things. It's all about the algorithm and whatnot.
Yes.
I don't know. Anyway, we love you. We hope that you have a great week and that you have a great renovation, whatever it is. So we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.